Chapter 8 The Shadow Leaf Commissioner of Police, the Commissionary of Police who traversed the interchange made a sign to an arm, placed himself one on Don's right, other on his left. The door communicated with the Pally and the Justice was opened. They went through a long range of gloomy corridors. His appearance might have made even the boldest shudder. The Pally and Justice communicated with the prison. Somewhere edifice that from his grated window looked from the clock tower dark roofs. After numberless windings, danced for a door behind Rickett. Commissary took an iron mallet and knocked thrice. Every blow seeming to dance to struck on his heart. The door opened, the two gendarmes gently pushed him forward. The door closed with a loud sound behind him. The air and hair of knowing appeared thick and thick. He was in prison. Conducted a tolerably neat chamber, but greater than barred his appearance. Therefore did not alarm him greatly, and besides, word of Villefort, he didn't interest himself very much. He found a soon his ears like promise of freedom. It was 4 o'clock when Dante placed in his chamber. What have we said? The 1st of March. Prison was still buried in darkness. Obscurity, but when the acuteness of his hearing, the slow sound, he rose and hastened to the door. Mr. about literary and the sound now remained. Dante sang again with his seat. And last about 10 o'clock, just as Dance began to despair. The steps were heard in the corridor. Key turned in the lock. The bolts creaked. The open door flew open. A flow of light from 2 torches pervaded the apartment. By a torchlight, Dance saw a glittering saber with cover under 4 gendarmes. He advanced at first, but stopped to fire a display of force. "Are you come to face me?" I see. "Yes," fired gendarme. "By the order of the deputy procurator." "I believe so." The visionary came from Monsieur de Villefort. Leave will dance apprehensions. He advanced calmly and placed himself in the center of the escort. Carried away to the door, a coachman left the box. This officer sat beside him. "This coach for me," asked Dance. "This for you," replied gendarme. Don't about to speak. Feeling himself urged forward, having no power or intention to resist. Behind the steps was an instant seasoned silence between 2 gendarmes. The 2 others took these officers. The carriage rolled heavily over the stones. Even glanced at the window, they waited. He changed his prison for another, of conveying him knew not whither. Regretting that, however, Dance for a passenger of Rue Saint Laurent and Rue Tournay, the port. Even before life was like unseen. Carriage stopped. Officer descended. Reached the guardhouse. A dozen soldiers came out and formed themselves in order. Dance for the reflection of the muskets by the light of the lamps and the key. "Can all this force be summoned on my account?" thought he. Officer opened the door, which was locked. Without speaking a word, answered Dan's question, for he saw between the ranks of the soldiers. The carriage formed and carriage to the court. 2 gendarmes were offered him defended first, then he avoided the light. The gendarmes when he tried and followed his example. Ran toward the boat, which accustomed of officer held by a chain in the quay. Soldiers looked at Dance with an air of stupid curiosity. He instantly placed in the stern sheets for the boat between the gendarmes, without often stationed himself at the bow. The shove sent the boat adrift, and the 4 sea watermen pelted rapidly toward the pillar. And shut from the boat, the chain that closed the mouth of the port was lowered. And second they were, the Dance knew in the fuel outside in the harbour. Even if they're feeling joy again, feeling purer air, for air is freezing before soon plays inside. We passed forward the reverb and how the morning been so happy. Now drove windows can laugh in the reverie of a ball. Now closed his hands, raised above to heaven and prayed fervently. The boats continued the voyage. They passed the Tête de Monte, now after Insensaro, going toward the battery. This maneuver incomprehensible to Dante. Literally taking me after he soon know, but still, it had been giving me any explanation. Downstream, Dismal knew that nothing would be more absurd than the question of subordinates. He was bidden to reply, though he remained silent. A vague and wild thought passed through his mind. But when he could not make a long voyage, the vessel would anchor outside the harbour. He thought, perhaps they were going to leave him on some distant point, if not bound, nor had any intent of handcuffing. This being a good robbery besides. And that deputy, in his kind room, told him invited to pronounce your name not here, nothing to apprehend, not real for any province for the federal letter, and a proof against him. When the sun trying to pierce through the darkness. And left the ill retinue where the lighthouse stood. On the right, now opposite the point of counting lands. The prisoner could distinguish feminine form on the beach, but was there Mercedes dwelt. How was the prisoner that then warm Mercedes the lover within? And the out of it. One night alone is ill. Down toward came Mercedes' chamber. Pity for them only one weak and whole settlement. A loud cry could be heard by it, but pride of shame was uttered. No regard thinking heard him shout like a madman. Remained silent, eyes fixed on the light. Babbled on, but the prisoner only toward out into the cities. Intervening elevation of land hid the light. Now stern seamen put out to sea. Had been out from toward the ship the oars and lifted sail. Now the boat was winding, moving with the wind. In spite of the pregnancy of Griffith's guard, Darren's son his newfound arm, shaking his head, taking his hand. Comrade, said he, enjoy your Christian in the soul. Tell me where you're going. I'm Captain Darren's fellow Frenchman. Look here, the tree, and tell me where you're abducted me. Promise you honor and submit to my fate. Darren looked at the companion, turned to his son and said, I feel no great harm in telling you now. Replied, when they must say, and if I learn you don't know where we're going, well, I have no idea. And he's no idea whatever. No, no, it isn't possible. Frederick, it's true. Tell me, I entreat. But my orders, your orders are to be determined on rough note in 10 minutes, in half an hour, an hour. You see, I can't escape even if I intended. Unless you're blind, you have never been outside the harbour, you must know. I do not. Look round then. Don't throw in the corner. Saw him ride 100 yards in blackened towering rock, which would tend to at your lips. Gleaming fortress, far more than a ground years furnished shoes to me, my legend. Then down like a scaffold to a mountain top. General Death, cried he, you're going there for? General smiled. I'm not going there to be imprisoned, said Dart, only being political prisoners. Included in no crime. Are there any magistrates or judges for the jail? There are only for the governor, the garrison, turnkeys, good thick walls. Come, come. You look so astonished. You think of laughing me in return for my good nature. Down pressed the condemned hand as though he would crush it. You think then, said he, taking the General Death to be prison there. Improbable, but there's no occasion to fear so hard. Only formality. What formality has been gone through, the inquiry is already made. And so, in spite of Monsieur Villefort promise, don't know Monsieur Villefort promised you, said Jean, but no, we are taking a chance of death. But what are you doing? Help, comrades, help. My revenue, the General Practified received. Dan sprang forward, precipitated himself into the sea with full vigorous arms, seized him as his feet quitted the bottom of the boat. He fell back, cursing with rage. Good. The General basically knee him in the chest. Can't breathe. Lean soft, spoken German again. Hark ye, my friend, I disobey my first order, but I will not disobey the second, and if you moved, I'll blow my brains out. Neville's carbine went up down to his felt muzzle against its temple. For a moment, The idea of struggling crossed his mind, so ending the unexpected evil had overtaken him. But it told him ensures to fulfill what promised. Besides, death in the boat of the hand of his arm seemed too terrible. Very motionless, gnashing his teeth in his hands of fury. At this moment, the boat came to a landing with a violent shock. One of the sailors leaped on shore. Cord creaked. He ran through a pulley, and Don scarcely heard the end of a voyage now mooring the boat. You guys had taken him by now in the circle and was off in the rise, dragging for the steps and led to the gate of the fortress, where a police officer carrying a musket with a fixed bayonet followed behind. That's made no resistance like he was a man in a dream. For forward was driving the embankment, the bagging was descending flight of stairs. If conscious they passed through a door and had the door closed behind him, or would have instantly through a mist. You don't even see the ocean, a terrible barrier against freedom, which is prisoner with one under despair. Thought for a minute during his disturbed neglected thoughts. Looked round as a court found a high wall, heard the measure of trains of sentinels, half all lights full of barrels with muskets shine. Ran up over 10 minutes. Certain Dunn's could not escape, the channel released him. Seemed waiting orders came. Where is the prisoner? Said a voice. Here. Let him follow me. I'll take him to his cell. Go, said the general prisoner once more. Prisoner followed the guy and in the room almost turned around. The bare, reeking wall from the prisoner linked tears. Lamb lay from the stool illuminated, bowing faintly. Even Dunn's featured conductor and the jailer, all clothed in their sullen appearance. He was a chamber for the night, said he, his late governor of sleep. Tomorrow perhaps we may change you. In the meantime there is bread, water, and fresh straw. And that's all a prisoner can wish for. Good night. Before Dunn could open before he had been noticed for the jailer pressed the bread with water. Before he glanced towards the corner of the straw wall, the jailer disappeared, taking with him the lamp, closing the door. Being stamped upon the prisoner's mind, dim reflection of the cheering wall of his dungeon. Dance was alone in the darkness in his silence, cold as the felt breathed in the shadows felt breathed in his burning forehead. With the first falling day, jailer returned. He boarded to leave Dance where he was. Found the prisoner in the same position as fixed there, with eyes fallen and weeping. After not descending and without sleep, jailer advanced, Dance had not perceived him. Touching his shoulder, everyone started. Have you not slept? Said the jailer. No, by chance. Jailer stared. Are you hungry? Continued he. Do not know. Do you wish for anything? Wish to see the governor? The jailer shrugged his shoulders and left the chamber. Went forward him with his eye, stretched forth with his hand toward the open door, but the door closed. One of the motion then burst forth. Cast himself on the ground, weeping bitterly, left himself a crying grin and then thus vanished. The day passed not, scarcely tasted food, and walked round the cell like a wild beast in his cage. One thought in particular tormented him, namely, that during the journey hither, that so still, during one dozen time, plunged in the sea, think of the power of swimming, which were famous, regained the shore. He showed himself to rival of Genevieve of Spanish vessels, escaped to Spain and others, but his father could join him. No one that fear of the Arab would live. Good seamen and working everywhere. Spoke Italian like a Tuscan Spanish like a Castilian, but he would be free, happy in the sea if his father were now confined in the shadow of death and impregnable forces. Even Peter definitely was father of Messias. All this because he had trusted in Lord Thomas. His thought was maddening, and Don threw himself furiously down on the straw. Next morning, the same hour, Charlie came again. Well, said the jailer, you're more reasonable today. That's me, the reply. Come, cheer up. Is there anything I can do for you? Wish to see the governor. What I told you is impossible. Why so? What's against prison rules? Prisoners must not even ask for it. What is allowed then? Better fair if you pay for it. Books and leave to walk about. Don't want books from satisfied with food. Don't want to care to walk about. Wish to see the governor. He's worrying me. I'm repeating the same thing, and not bring any food more doing it. Well then, said the errand, if you do not, I shall die of hunger. That is all. The jailer's four ways Tony would have you die, and every woman worth 10 short a day to a jailer. He replied in more subdued tone. What you ask is impossible. You're very well behaved, we won't walk about. Suddenly we meet the governor, if you replied as is fair. But that, how long shall I have to wait? A month, 6 months, a year. It's too long a time, which is even once. Said jailer, do not brood over what isn't possible, or you'll be mad in a fortnight. You think so? Yes, we're innocent here, and we've offering million friends to governor for a liberty, but I became mad. We were shaming for you. How long we had left it? 2 years. Will they rain then? No, we're in total. Listen. I'm not happy. I'm not mad. Perhaps we shall be, but presently I'm not. I'm making no problem. Where's that? You're offering a million because we have it not. We give you £100 the first time we go to Mercedes. Seek out a young girl named Mercedes at the cattle land. Give her 2 lines to me. I took them of where a detective would live my place, which is worth 2,000 francs a year. So we get fool to run such a risk of 300. Well, like this. Refuse at least tell Mercedes I'm here. When they hide myself, I find his door, and then when you enter, I dash her brains out with a stool. Threats, cried Trailer, intriguing, putting himself on the defensive. You're certainly going mad. Never began like you. In 3 days you were like him. Man enough to tire. Fortunately, I didn't appear. Dance rolled and threw around his head. All right, said the jailer. All right, since you have it so, I will send word to the governor. Very well, said White, turned Dance, dropping the stool and seeing whether he was really reality mad. The other went on, turning instant corporal and 440. By the governor's orders, said he, conduct the prisoner to the tier beneath. To the dungeons then, said the corporal. Yes, must put a madman with a madman. Here's the four Dance followed passively. 15 steps, the door of the dungeon was opened. They were thrust in. Door closed. Dance advanced after his hands kind of touched the wall. Down in the corner, his eyes began to cough into the darkness. Jailer was right. Dance is one but little of being utterly mad.